To give you kind of an idea of what's going to happen before you leave today, everyone in here, if you are a returning member to the team, do I have to be louder for that thing? If you are a returning member to the team, you will be picking up the returning member application from Ms. Berza. If you are going to be someone who hasn't been on the team before, you'll be a new member. That's how it works. You're new to something. You will pick up the new member application from me. If you are interested in applying for a team leadership position, that is anywhere from being the overall team leader to a sub-team leader. You can look at the sub-teams as we go through this. If you're interested in applying to any of those, please, you're going to have to get another application from me. I'll tell you right now that for any kind of position, membership to the team or membership to the team or team leadership position, I will always take in multiple things: who you are, how you're doing in school, what your teachers have said about you, what kind of person you are. I take in all accounts to that, plus your application. So I take in a ton of input. This year I'm taking in a ton of input. When I see your application, I'm at 4 days to talk to your teachers to see what kind of person you are. If you're a returning member, I kind of know what kind of person you are. So if you're a problem in your other classes, you don't set things straight, yeah, it's going to be an issue for you. I mean, you can see the people that are in this room. If you've disappointed any of these 3 people in this room, that's going to be really tough for you. If you're a new member or a returning member, because, I mean, hey, these are your mentors right here that are mostly going to be here. If you've disappointed me, if I've had you in class, if I've had to talk to you, man, I don't want to deal with you in robotics. This isn't a, happy-go-lucky, everybody joins, let's go eat rainbows kind of stuff. That's not going to work. So, yeah, you know what I'm going to judge on. For the team leadership, if you're looking at it and you say, I would like to be the team leader of controls, or mechanical or something like that, but you feel that there's someone who's more experienced, they're going to get it. No, don't make that assumption. All right? Don't make that assumption. I had someone get a leadership position last year that literally came up to me a couple days later and was like, for real? I'm the leader? Well, yeah, you are. Okay? Just because it's a senior who's applying doesn't mean that the senior is going to get it. I take a look at it. I don't care if you are a sophomore. I don't care if you're a junior or a senior. I'm going to take a look and see if you can lead. If you can lead, I think you're going to be a good member. Then, maybe you get that. So that's to start it out, okay? You're going to get those information stuff from me. So. All right, now I got to talk louder because I'm going down here. Do you think you can hear me from here? The Sentinel camera? All right, here we go. How's it going up there? We don't have keystoning too bad, right, Mr. Heimstead? All right, good. Question 1 for the quiz, the people that are not here. What is keystoning? All right, so here we go. For you that saw this PowerPoint last year, it's going to be a little bit different. Nothing's changed that much. For new members, this is something completely new to you. There are some changes as we go through here. So we are the Blue Devil Builders team, 4296. That is our team number that's given to us by First Robotics. We cannot change that. The name we can change, though. I don't know if that's going to happen. We are a third-year team, and we're comprised of students and adults. So we kind of covered the gamut. Maybe one day we'll introduce babies. And then we are, of course, what you should be. Dedicated, hardworking individuals. You have an interest to develop your technology skills, science, business, and engineering, to develop all those skills. The things you learn in class, you will maybe not use the most advanced method of it, but you will be using some of these skills that you've learned in your engineering classes in some of your teams. So, we are actually going to rename our business team because our business team needs to be better, and they were pretty good last year. But this is the traditional business team. They are now going to be the Chairman's Award team because they are going to be applying for awards. And some of the biggest awards are going to be chairman's, and we are going to actually start doing stuff to qualify for our Chairman's Award. So ideally they're going to deal with finances, so getting more sponsorship money. Money is what makes this team run. Money is what makes the team go from 25 people in the previous year to like almost 60 people this year. We went from $10,000, which was just given to us from Abbott, to almost $27,000 in 1 year. We found $17,000 more dollars, and we want to continue that. Okay, you know, Abbott's going to continue to sponsor us, but we still have to find those sponsors that sponsored us last year and say, can we have that same money again? But you know, more professionally, and we're going to find other people to sponsor us, and we want a huge budget because we want a big team, and we want to have other FIRST robotics teams, or first teams, tech challenges. We want to be able to put on more banquets and shows and really show ourselves to the world, but that costs money. You're also going to be dealing with marketing, so finance is marketing. Some of the things that happen on our chairman's team, we have managing our budget, seeking new sponsors, the biggest one, designing the shirt and logo, planning team building activities. Hey, that's going to be a big one for this upcoming year because we didn't really get the chance to do any team building activities, but we need to. We need to know everybody. One thing that I had down there last year that did get done, so hopefully the following year, is we're going to write our team handbook. So who are we? We're going to have a book that we can give out. You know, maybe it's not going to be a 500-page manuscript, but maybe it'll be like 10 pages that tells us who we are, what we believe in, the rules of our team, our contract, that kind of deal. And then identify team awards. So if you were at our banquet, we had a bunch of awards that we gave out to sponsors, and we also had 3 awards, or we should say 4 awards, 3 categories that we gave out to individual students. So a few people in here got awards. So that is chairman's. It's going to be a little different this year for chairman's. Not all teams have the same time requirement, okay? Not all teams do. The chairman's team during the build season, that is January, is going to have the least amount of time requirement. The majority of your time is going to be before the season and after the season. So before the season, you're seeking new sponsors, putting together logos, you're getting everything ready for the build season. Build season, not much to do. I mean, this is coming from Ms. Berza, who takes care of that, all right? I'm just repeating like a parrot what she said. After the season, then you're ramping up for the end of the year dinner, the awards, getting everything in order so we can have an awesome send-off at the end. So it is mostly the least amount of time. You know, if you are a busy person, you're worrying about your grades. One, this is a great way to get involved in robotics as the chairman's team. And generally for entry members, you know, this is where you might be. This is where you might be. You got to prove to me that you can do something on the chairman's team and be awesome before you can move on to other teams in your upcoming years. Anything to add, Ms. Berza?
Show up if you're going to be on the business team.
Show up. Show up. We had a couple people who wanted to take care of our budget this year, learn how to take care of a budget from the student aspect, and then all of a sudden they were gone for half the season. So I mean, that stuff can't happen. You know, there is a time requirement. You don't meet that. You know, as you can see, you're not here anymore. All right, here's a new team that we're creating. We have our media and animation team. Another great way to get your feet wet in robotics, and this might be a proving ground for you. So under media and animation responsibilities, you're going to promote our team. So you'll promote our team to our sponsors. So we'll be working with the business team to do that. You'll be creating press releases to the sponsors and community. So you might send out a weekly blog of what you guys, what as a team we have been doing, what have we been accomplishing, what are we looking forward to. Maybe if there's any team building activities coming up, maybe if there is any team dinners coming up, or any kind of sponsorship activities, fundraisers like we had at Susie Swirl a lot. You know, that stuff will go out there as well. Website, you know, we'll also have responsibilities. Will be the website on there. That's going to be a big one. You know, that was our website. It's pretty terrible, so we're moving away from that. And we're actually using Dreamweaver now to make a much better website, and you know, that's not a stab at you, Ryan, who worked on it. It's just Site Designer is a terrible program for the most part. It's pretty just terrible. You'll be involved with making team videos. So that's one thing that helps us for the Chairman's Award, is creating these weekly videos and creating an overall video detailing who we are as a team, the community that we're in, how we impact it, what we do inside the school, outside the school, all that. And there'll be 2 animations we have to create. These are computer-based animations. So maybe you're like, I don't want to mess with editing video or anything like that, but there is a second part of this team that's animation. You'll actually be learning a whole new program like Autodesk Maya, it's called, or 3ds Max, which is kind of similar to Inventor. And you'll actually design characters and make them animate, do voiceovers, and you actually create a little video. And we actually have both of those. I don't have links for them, but we had our safety animation that was done this year, and then we have our fairy tale animation, which we did at the end of the year. So once again, that's kind of a proving team, a proving ground team right there. Mechanical systems. All right, so you can see we got a new picture in there. This is the team that builds the robot. I mean, you really don't design the robot, you build it. So someone's telling you what to do, you are building it. This team particularly has the most time commitment. You will be here at least during the build season, the 6-week build season. You will be here, and you have to be here. If this is a team that you put down as your number 1, you are telling me you are going to be here at least 5 days a week. You will be here 5 days a week, Monday through Thursday and Saturdays. That is the mechanical team. Your responsibilities, you have to prototype the chassis, you have to prototype the game device, and you work with controls for placement of their controls where things are going to be. It is the most crucial thing because this is the actual physicality of our robot. If that's not there, doesn't matter how great our controls team is or programming team is, it's not going to do anything. So like I said, this is the number one time commitment team. And when I say at least 5 days, it could be all 7 days of the week. If we've got a deadline to hit, if we've got to weld up a chassis, we've got to weld up a frame for our game device, whatever it may be, we might be here on a Sunday. We might be here on a Friday night. And if that's not the time commitment you can make, and you're like, I don't want to make that time commitment. If you were on it last year as a mechanical team, and you say, oh, it wasn't like that last year, I don't want to be a part of this, then don't. All right, everybody starts fresh. So don't put it as a number 1 or number 2. This is the biggest time commitment. This program has to succeed, and the only way it's going to succeed is more time commitment. That's mechanical. That was shift. That's enter. All right, control systems. Our control systems is going to be our digital controls, analog controls. We are looking at like our motors. So our motors, and then how do our motors run? We use motor controllers. And where do those go to? They're wired to our power distribution board, and it's also wired to our digital sidecar, and then our digital sidecar is wired to our Siri I/O. So it is a lot of technical components that you are going to have to learn and understand. You have to learn how things are wired together, how things are soldered together. You will have to learn how signals are generated. What is a PWM signal? How can it be manipulated? How can you use a digital signal versus an analog signal? What's the difference between them? So this controls team is possibly, this one's kind of tied with programming for the most amount of material you have to learn. This is very, very important. We talked about this last year. If you do not understand controls, you will cost the team quite a bit of money when you accidentally wire motor controllers backwards and you fry them. Okay? You know, this year, did we fry a motor controller? No. No. First year we fried 6. This year, 0. So we did much better, but for the most part, only 1 or 2 people were wiring it. You know, and that's not necessarily what I want. I want a lot of people involved in this. So you'll be testing new components. Each year, First Robotics gives us some new components that we can test out. You will literally grab it. You will read the data sheet. It will become your robotics Bible. You will learn how to wire it. And then you will learn how to test it. You will work with programming to create new code to test those new components. Like I said, you'll become an expert on every component. You will secure technical information. So if we're trying to figure out how this component works, you know I have a binder I can go to where I printed out a data sheet, and it's right here, and I can read that, and we can figure it out. I don't have every answer. No, I do not. And 99% of the time, I just say, figure it out, get out of my face. That's usually how it works, because I don't have time to learn this. You are the ones who want to be part of this team. You're the ones who have to learn this. You will have to do this. And also, you will create and update a wiring diagram, something we didn't do this year. So that is something we have to do. We want to have a wiring diagram that we can always update. There are 3D programs that can do that for us. And again, you're going to work with programming. You're going to design the component and the board layout. So where can we put components so we can easily access them? Because that's probably one of the biggest things we learned this year from our robot, is a lot of our components, nice and tight, and it was clean and it looked well, but it was extremely hard to access them if they went down. And what turned into, what should have been a 15-minute job would turn into a half-hour, 45-minute job, just because it was a lot of tight spaces. All right, we have programming. So our two main programming languages we use here, I mean the main one 99% of the time is our LabVIEW program. It is what we learn to program with. I guess I can confidently say I have, like, from last year, 1.5 programmers. You know, I mean, I wasn't around programming a lot, but I don't have any kind of faith in the programming team other than about 1.5 people, and that's not a midget. That's just half a person. So, we got to get better in this area, because the two people who know how to program that were on this team, we'll see if they're on the team next year, are going to be gone after next year. And if we don't have solid people to hand those reins off, then we can literally build a robot and plug things in and then, like, kick it. That's about as good as it is for, if we cannot find people who can honestly sit there and say, give me some time with the robot, let me program something, let me screw something up, and learn from that mistake. You'll be writing the LabVIEW code, you'll be learning what the LabVIEW code is, you'll be communicating with controls, okay? Controls, what do you want this to do? Okay, we know mechanically what we want it to do, and the controls will say, we want it to rotate 4 times and then stop. Okay, so we need a motor and a encoder. How are we going to work those together? I need a motor and encoder, how are we going to wire that up? And how are we going to write that code? I have C++ code in there, because as this program grows, we can add in what we call custom circuits on the robot, something we don't do. But a lot of teams add custom circuits by putting little prototype boards right on, like a basic stamp or an Arduino or a parallax board, you know, something like that. Some kind of board they put on there to create custom circuits to make the robot either look better or perform another kind of operation that can't be done with the amount of inputs, outputs we have on the robot. And then, of course, communicate with controls. I've already said that. And then we have our CAD team. So for a lot of you, since you guys went through Inventor, you went through IED, you already have kind of a natural strength in being able to use Inventor. So your responsibilities will be to model essentially everything. You know, you'll sit down, you'll design what the robot's going to be. You know, not just the CAD, everyone's going to sit down, start designing, go through decision matrices, what do we want our robot to be. CAD team will take it from there. They will design the entire robot first, and then we will take those working drawings and go for them. We got much better about it this year. We actually designed kind of half of our shooter, and we built it. But you know what? We built a shooter where you had to physically load the frisbees, which isn't completely done. I mean, when I say CAD, we designed for the team, for the members that are on the team last year, the shooter and the pneumatic cylinder that pushes it. We just did the shooter with the wheels and the hopper. That's not good enough. It's got to be everything, so we can dissect it. Another thing I'm looking for is we're going to get rid of the Andy Mark chassis. Let's go towards that custom chassis. So the CAD team is actually going to have to work with the mechanical team a lot more to actually learn how to build a custom chassis, to research other teams' custom chassis and try to emulate them. You'll be now, like I said, modeling the chassis, modeling the manipulator. You'll be creating working drawings for people to work off of. And most importantly, so we don't have a last minute, oh my God moment, the bill of materials. The bill of materials is what we give to the inspectors. So they look and say, what are the parts on them? How much are they? And can this robot be inspected correctly and actually compete? Last year, it was done, I don't know, 4 hours before the competition. And we were still writing things in on the bus as we were going there because CAD team forgot to do this. So thank you. Thank you for the heart attack. So that's CAD. All right, so when do we meet? So we have attendance will be taken during the preseason and the build season and what we call our prepare season. You'll see that. Team leader, you will take attendance again, but it needs to be much more accurate. I'm going to have a whole new form that you're going to have to fill out. It will literally be when you get there, 3:29 to whenever you check out. It is not a, I was here for the day. That is not. You have to satisfy a certain amount of hours. So I need detailed amount of hours. So this is another team leader responsibility. You're going to be responsible for tracking your own attendance. You're not going to come up to me and say, oh, how many hours did I get this week? I don't know, 0 if you ask me. Go away. You're going to have to track your own attendance. If you will dip below the required attendance, yeah, I'm going to find you. I'm going to seek you out and I'm going to tell you, hey, that's not cool. You're going to have to come in for extra time, help your team somewhere, because that's not going to fly. Students have to be there for at least 65% of the team hours during the build season, and also you must attend mandatory team meetings. This is technically a mandatory team meeting. For people that couldn't make it up, I understand if it was a game in sports, but you know, practice doesn't really cut it to me. I mean, you can talk to your coach about practice, and you can get out of that. Students have to have at least 6 hours a month of safety training during the preseason. So our preseason is going to be in the summer and the beginning of the school year. So I mean, we're literally going to start right at the end of May with our summer program, and you're going to have to satisfy so many hours a month in safety training and just regular tool training and learning how to use a lathe or a mill, depending on what team you're on, so you can satisfy those hours. So that's when we meet. Kind of our tentative schedule, so you kind of get the idea. Our preseason is going to be our summer to December 31st. You know, we're looking at Thursday training during the summer around 10 to 4, maybe 2 days a week. You know, if I have to change some times, I'm kind of giving you an idea. It would either be Thursdays or possibly 2 days a week during the summer. Like I said, not every single day is mandatory. We just have to satisfy a certain number of hours. Build season, that is going to be Monday through Thursday around 3:30 to 6:30, Saturdays 9 a.m. to 3:30. This is for regular team members, and that's going to be from January 1st, I just say January 1st, it's going to be the first Saturday of January, to the end of our build day. I put March 1st, just so it's easy, you know, easy 3 months. And then we have something called a prepare season. I'm planning on doing 2 regionals next year if we can get the money. So that means that after we're done with our robot, we are preparing for our competitions with our practice robot. We build our end game professional robot, and then we'll have our practice robot. And we're going to be looking at from March 2nd to about April 5th. Those are, between those dates will be the 2 regionals. Will be 3 days a week, about 4 to 6. And 2 days a week, 4 to 6, and then Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3:30 again. So you're looking at about 3 days a week again for the prepare season. And all of this right here, like I said, this is going to be different. This is going to mess with people because I know you want to be in spring sports. But if you're a major team member, if you're going to sit there and take a spot on the mechanical team, but then you're going to be gone because you've got a spring track or you've got spring tennis, well, guess what? I mean, you can't satisfy your hours in the mechanical team. You can't do it. So you're going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to make a decision for that. So like I said, there's our tentative schedule. And then another big thing I have in here is just safety. So I'm getting down with about 5 minutes. You know, biggest thing we have in here, safety. It's going to be the #1 priority we have for this whole program. You know, no horseplay allowed. You're You're going to be safe. You're not going to wear jewelry. You're going to hold your hair back with if you got long hair. No loose articles. You're going to pull up your sleeves. That kind of deal. Anytime you're in the shop, you're going to adhere to any posted work signs, and you must be supervised on any kind of machinery. So I just throw that out there. We'll talk more about that. If you're on a team that deals with tools, you'll have to pass those tool trainings. I don't know if I have anything else. Okay, so how do we sign up? There we go. You're going to grab your application on the way out. You're going to turn to Mr. Green in room 109. I'm in room 109 the second half of the day. The first half of the day, I'm in 105. Applications are due in 1 week. That is May 1st. And then again, we can look online at our terrible website to learn more. Or you just talk to someone who's been a part of it. Say, hey, what was it like? And if they say hell, multiply that times 2 for next year. Okay? Because that's what's going to happen. Now, before we take off, like I said, we got a few minutes. Here's what you need to do. You need to prove to me that you are here. You need to prove to me that you were here. So what I have is up at this table, I have 2 sign-in sheets. Over here I have 2 sign-in sheets. You don't need to sign in all 4. You just need to sign in on 1. Okay? You just need to sign in.